here, but putting them into effect with another new roster, nothing can be set in stone. It's only game 11 of the season.
Freeca fans, pretty strong voices here today. I mean, I wasn't quite expecting it. We're still filling up here at the LoL Park as it is relatively early on a Wednesday. However, still desperate to see Afreeca get some more victories. And as we have a look over what they've decided to go with when it comes to the runes, no surprises apart from, I guess you could say, Kiin with the Grasp of the Undying coming in just to keep himself alive against Aurelia as much as he can.
And this game is deceptively a big one for me because I feel like your season's tone is set on whether you win or lose this game. It's not one you can get back. It's not one you can reclaim. And I think these are both teams that look at their spring and say, we should have done better. Hanwha Life once again knocking on the door of playoffs, and Afreeca just not even contending. Winning here starts up some mini momentum because you feel like you can separate yourself from the team below you, which I think, again, both teams look at the other and say, we should be above our opponent today.
And also, Hanwha Life are the perfect sounding board for the playoffs here in the LCK. They always have been. They've been the gatekeepers of the top 5 positions because they live in 6th place. We'll be able to see whether Afreeca are going to be vying for that playoff contention as the early game starts.
Smart move from Hanwha Life. It's a fake leash by sangyoon and Kiin with Skarner starting topside to throw Lee Sin off the scent of the enemy. And Skarner usually predictable in the pathing, and Dread predictably aggressive as a player. You almost never want to give up bot lane control, so it's very conspicuous that you don't show up in lane early against Lux Ezreal because you lose lane control and push power for the level 2 against a lane that's very much for the lane. So there's no reason that Afreeca should think it was a fake leash, and the winner from that should be Moojin.
Well, we'll see whether Moojin can actually play around this one effectively. Can understand the idea completely. Dread's going for what feels like a full clear, going red to Krugs and then immediately down towards his Raptor camp, so maybe not going to get as much out of it on the Hanwha side as they would have thought. As you see Dread moving up to level 3 now. See whether it is just going to be that full clear, whether there will be more. Still, 2.5 minutes in, no Rift Scuttlers on the Rift just yet after the change.
If a Predator jungler gets more camps and gets to level 6 first, while Lee Sin can fall back into a level 6 play pattern, it obviously behooves Moojin a lot to get an uninterrupted early game, and you just don't respect a Predator Skarner ganking at 3 minutes. Here he comes.
Yeah, we'll see whether Senan's actually going to get caught out. Good hook, and the flash is going to be respected. Really nicely done, as Moojin does show himself. But of course, they knew he was there as he wouldn't have walked that far up.
But you're not expecting Skarner bot lane when you saw bot lane ostensibly leashed for the Skarner, and at 3 minutes before Skarner could have backed to buy boots for his Predator. They get a flash, and we already mentioned in Champ Select, it's Lux's flash, and given that Lux needs to carry the 2v2 laning phase for the Ezreal, it's actually a deceptively big win, because it's Moojin forcing something before he has all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. Dread's going to miss the Rift Scuttler. Definitely the best juker in the entire game. As Kiin's going to come and take the Rift Scuttle on the top side of the map. And this is the win that Afreeca got out of Moojin going aggressively for that gank. His positioning was given away, and it meant that Dread knew that he did not have his boots, he did not have a keystone, and Dread is always going to win that 1v1 fight over the Rift Scuttler. So both of them now in the hands of the Afreeca Freecs.
You don't always spot those. Wait, this is a very aggressive
It's a lot of mana gone.
Teleport there coming through from Ucal. I don't think he put too much thought into that one, but he's going to be fine. As you mentioned, 100 mana sacrifice, and he, of course, was living dangerously, wasn't full mana when he was coming back anyway.
Yep.
Frustrating for Ucal, and it's going to mean a very fast pushback. So there's always going to be things to swap, and it's actually a double back timing from Ucal.
Well, he may as well. I mean, the minion wave was miles away. This cannon is going to go down as Lava was completely out of mana. So double Doran's Blade start here for Ucal, continuing on his aggressive tack.
It's kind of weird to teleport back in. All he gets on the back timing is the refillable and a decent minion wave position. It's kind of a big investment, I think, all things considered. Moojin is the most active Skarner ever. He still hasn't shopped.
Just insane. Well, he's coming on over. SoHwan was doing some really interesting stuff to try and at least give Kiin the option of going aggressive, but Kiin's not going to bite off more than he can chew with a huge minion wave underneath his turret.
So usually when you teleport in and shove, and that's what they got with the TP, you also get vision control for it, but Hanwha Life, Afreeca already had vision control topside, and actually Lava gets away with backing in an awkward timing, and clears the vision. So actually, Ucal's teleport lost the map control, which is just a quirk of a double back timing.
Well, speaking of quirks, Moojin's going to be found out here by Dread. Does land the Sonic Wave, but has to safeguard to get himself out. Hanwha very quick on the rotation from the bottom side.
It's been a pretty high-level start from Hanwha, all the way from the fake leash to getting the bot lane flash with release pressure from sangyoon and Kiin. Like, Hanwha looked so off in their first game, Atlas. They looked like they hadn't even read the patch notes. That's how off they were, and that was in a professional game. Here, they're coming up with cool different ideas.
Someone accidentally teleported.
Oh, yeah, a combat teleport.
That's called a whoopsie teleport. That's called I take Ignite too many times in lane in solo queue.
Huh. That's a big whoopsie.
Yeah, it's a big whoopsie. In fact, the cancel was very, very fast there from Kiin. I mean, if it was me, I would get some free creeps before letting that one go, because you ain't canceling it unless he did it himself. As Ucal going super aggressive onto Lava, does still have Valkyrie, doesn't actually have to use it, holding onto it there when it looked like the seismic shove could have landed. Was pretty aggressive, as this is aggressive also. Lava has to be careful.
I have a very important tangential question.
Go.
What was Def's reaction to that TP play if he was watching? Was it a grimace or a smile?
Def's reaction?
Because he, of course, had the famous
Jace. I know.
The Jace teleport. How did he react? Do you think he laughed about it, or do you think he relived a bad time in his life?
I think definitely relived a bad time, but had a sly smirk on his face. As we're going to get the replay. Very important.
He actually managed to hit the stun and teleport at the same time. That's quite a lot of mechanics.
Yeah, that's a big fat finger. You know, like you fat fingered multiple buttons at the same time. And I can point out as well, having seen the hands of this gentleman, that it's not it doesn't have big hands. So to fat finger when you don't even have fat fingers, it's real tough. Anyway, that is going to be the teleport down, but still no harm, no foul. It's only behind 15 CS, something like that. And when you're up against Kiin, that's about what you'd want out of your top laner.
I'd love to speak to SoHwan to know what button he mispressed. Was it just the second part of E at the same time?
I think he just double pressed E.
I was actually looking at a keyboard. I have one in front of me, trying to work out how that would happen. Because he was EE.
Oh, right, yeah, because that's... No, that's ED at the same time. They're, like, right next to each other. Like, that's just a fat finger then. Guaranteed.
Well, he's feeling a bit sheepish, but for now at least, in a pretty decent lane position. Down on effective items, Ninja Tabi against Longsword and Boots.
Yeah, Ninja Tabi, of course, gets you a lot of value now that Aurelia does get more of that attack speed from the passive. Losing Singularity comes down, and Kiin unable to clear out that control ward, as Dread will turn up in the nick of time.
It's important also to remember we saw Aatrox versus Aurelia semi-regularly in previous metas. Now at level 6, the spike is actually stronger for SoHwan than it is for the Aatrox. Before, Aatrox got combat stats and a note button.
Yep.
Now Aurelia gets her all-in button, and all Aatrox can do is try to move quickly away. Well, slow negates that, and or just try to fight on his own accord without the note button. So, in terms of the level 6 all-in, I think Aurelia got relatively buffed. Here we go.
Okay, Lava says, yeah, thanks for the leash, because that was trying to be a handoff, but great vision available for Hanwha makes it so easy for them to steal that one away. Of course, threaded volley is still pretty good.
Does it over a couple of control wards as well, so Afreeca will feel like they put in a lot of work to control the area just to have the blue buff stolen under their nose. A very important blue buff as well, given that Lava hasn't invested in mana regen in his early item.
Yeah, no Lost Chapter available. Does have the Sork Boots, though, for the extra damage here as this game goes on. You can understand the mindset, because Hanwha have themselves pretty good bridging composition from the early game to the mid game if Moojin can get there with his first Impale. And Afreeca Freecs are still looking to scale up to, what, 3 items on Corki is probably optimal. You want to get Kiin into a side lane pretty comfortably, but it can be difficult with Aurelia hitting Trinity Force timings that will be a little bit late. Executioner's Calling was the back that came in from SoHwan just here. So we'll see how Afreeca managed to navigate. At the moment, they're about 300 gold ahead. But Hanwha will have more mid-game tools available to them, as Ucal just putting his face into some threaded volleys and sacrificing a bunch of this health bar.
If I see the Executioner's Calling as Kiin, I'm pinging out the item for my team and saying, alright, enemy team is going to be camping top lane, because you go Executioner's Calling here to be better at the all-in that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Got better for Aurelia with the Aatrox ultimate change. So a lot of ability and a lot of incentive to play through top lane. And then we already talked about how Afreeca will struggle if Kiin can't contain SoHwan when they try to group for their sieging when those items roll in.
Well, Cloud Drake goes over to the Afreeca Freecs without response. It was obviously Hanwha being more than happy just to give that one up. due to the fact that they had their Skarner move down towards the Krug camp while they had Scuttle Vision in the area. So already not too many objectives to fight for, as Keys decided that there certainly are. Senan has that flashback available. The light binding was good as Lava turns up a little bit late just to show his friends that he's there, but unfortunately unable to actually give anything. So that is another flash out from Senan, but a Weaver's Wall unavailable now for Hanwha Life.
Very disappointed not to see Hanwha Life with Moojin's first post-ult gank go topside because it was so tricky. They're not returning during the flash window where Lux had the flash went down. They have to use some crazy protractor ganks in order to make it happen. This is the spot they should be in. And speaking of this spot...
Yeah, that's the big kick out as the Sonic Wave is going to land there as well. SoHwan's trying to dart around this fight as best he can, but it doesn't work as Kiin is able to pick up the first blood. And if there's anyone you don't want first blood on if you're a Hanwha Life fan, it is Kiin.
Good reactive shot calling from Afreeca. They go straight top lane when they see resources used bot lane. SoHwan's first ult isn't one aggressively used. It's actually a defensive ult to try to get out. Counter swap attempt for the Rift Herald with Thresh going topside. It's like Hanwha Life missed out on an opportunity for them. Right now, nice little counter punch from Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, and when these counter punches come in and there's no response from Hanwha, Afreeca are getting theoretically more than what you'd see as the result here on the Rift, because they're getting more of a free ride towards the later stage of the game where they're feeling very confident in their 4-1 sieging compositions power.
And they're a hyper-mobile comp. It's Boots to Talia with the rock surfing. It's Boots of mobility. Thresh, they're here first. They're held very, very low.
Yeah, they are going to come down here. Moojin in trouble as Dread comes on over. Sonic Wave is not going to land. True Shot Barrage also goes wide, and Hanwha just wander away.
A bit under the nose. Remember, the aggressive move topside to try to get a lead was from Afreeca, but Hanwha Life used their mobility to not get that first blood, but get the Rift Herald, which is a nice pickup. It's only 12 minutes into the game. It will get someone a kill's worth of gold anyway. So, nice little move, because the window there was pretty limited for Hanwha Life to actually pick up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, exactly, and now it's at 12 minutes as well, so they can get themselves some plates from this one. You can see there's not a lot of plates that have been taken so far on this map. Bottom outer turret almost to lose one, but doesn't, and it's only Kiin that's taken one on the top side of the map. So structure's certainly pretty intact so far this game.
Everything is going as expected. Gold totals are pretty even. Zaya's going to cash in her cull and bring it just a handful of gold between the two teams. Feels like Hanwha Life will have the unique variable of the one-item Talia really soon, and she should be the most powerful champion on the Rift for a little bit. Corki going to take his time. We all know about that. When aiming hits 2 items, that's when there's a bit of a blowback from Afreeca.
Well, that's a great play out of Key, but isn't going to be enough. Lucent Singularity gets himself the slow as the hook is going to land. Key does go down and do a stopwatch. Great kickback to keep the Lee Sin alive, but not for long enough. Final spark is overkill as the Impale comes down onto Ucal. Just happy to land more autos and eventually has to flash away sangyoon with great timing on the Feather Storm.
Everyone there first for Afreeca Freecs, and yet it's only a 1-for-1 overall. Key couldn't have played it better, but his death was always pretty imminent. Answering kill, everyone moves away. Again, nice counter move from Hanwha Life, but overall, it doesn't change the docket at all.
Nope. Ucal picking up a kill, though, is actually pretty important here for the Afreeca Freecs, not necessarily just because he's Corki, because this is Ucal. If he can play with that confidence that we saw in their most recent series, then this could certainly be a door opened as we saw a light binding land, but we're going to have a look at the replay instead.
And unfortunately, the light binding missing was the big problem here. Senan actually gets almost nothing done in this fight. If the light binding hits, he dies earlier or stopwatches earlier, and you don't have the first kill going the way of Hanwha. They have to invest all of those tools, even the ult, just to kill the Thresh, so it should have been better from the Afreeca Freecs, but Senan's inaccuracy was very costly.
Well, Lava tried to do exactly the same thing again, was unable to this time as Ucal did manage to pick up the blue buff. No mana in his back pocket, so very happy to have that buff now available, and finally will complete his Sheen. True Shot Barrage snags Key. And plating helps him for a moment.
In a series Atlas where we're looking for separation, we're still not seeing it between Afreeca and Hanwha Life. I think Hanwha Life's most important period is coming up soon, when they have this ability with the Talia to make a lot happen. Speaking a lot about the Talia, she's roaming down, but Dread ahead of the play.
Yeah, good juke there by Senan. Didn't need the flash that time around. Didn't have it, so it's definitely lucky. Q landing onto Key is not exactly where Dread wants to be, because the play is available, and that's going to stop any fun from happening for the Lee Sin.
Dread's Lee Sin is the most amusing one to follow on the LCK, because every Q goes in, And the Lee syndrome is his first thought. You know it is. Dread is that kind of player. You guys weren't familiar when he was under the ID Twinkle, renowned for his play on Kindred in particular. He still gets Kindred bans way out of meta because his Kindred win rate and solo queue was 80% over 100 games. Like, that is, in Master to Grandmaster tier, unbelievable win rate.
Just insane. And also, I mean, Kindred's not too bad in the meta at the moment. We were discussing that, LS and I, on Sunday, talking about the fact that Kindred is an option.
I think Kindred Zillion, you know, going for the full NA duo there, I think is strong. I think Kindred alone gets found out too much because you just kick her out of the
against Lee Sin, definitely don't want to be picked.
And I think LS was on the mark because he was talking about answers to Aatrox's team fight, and we saw a really cool one from Kingzone in the turret, which is along the lines of the Kindred and the Zillion. Any sort of damage immunity can be so big when you need that first kill to be relevant as Aatrox.
Well, speaking of relevance, this outer turret is going to fall down, but it's after the plates have been cashed in already. Senan and aiming down here on the bottom side might be able to return the favor, but tempo advantage over to Hanwha as they push Shelly into the inner turret also. Kiin should be able to deal with this, but there's a lot of bad guys up here for the Aatrox. Dread may not be enough to actually keep them alive as Predator there gives away the position of the Skarner. 4 members topside were not able to get more than half the health bar of that inner turret though, as Ucal happily standing here to pick up this wave delivered to him by Lava. Sorry, by the Xayah.
Spawning in 4 minutes, so no objectives that you have to leave vision behind to actually trade off. You see some nice deep vision from Hanwha Life. If this is 5 minutes forward in the game, obviously it's very important. Red side vision they've gotten, but with no Baron spawning, it's going to be harder to return to. Always have to be careful not to just allow a freeze or a really bad lane spot for, say, Aatrox to get 3 ways of farm that Aurelia doesn't have access to, given that Hanwha Life are relying on SoHwan to have actual kill pressure on Aatrox in the 1v1.
Talking about waves of farm, Ucal's picked up a few extra ones so far this game, ahead by 20 of the clock. Looking at about an 18-minute 200 CS margin is pretty damn impressive from the Corki, who's moving towards the top side to eat that one up as well. There's a reason why Kiin is falling behind. I think that Ucal's just been roaming around this map, taking as many of these minions as possible. And what do we talk about when it comes to Corki? He just gets a power spike every single time he buys a new item. So he's more than happy to be soaking up all of this farm and getting further and further ahead when it comes to these items.
And when the Corki is winning, it's one of our favorite color caster points, but so much in the recent meta, Corki gets a power spike and then the game's maybe over before his second one. He definitely doesn't get his third Atlas. So getting that gold, farming well, hitting your items early, even more important for the Corki in the 2019 summer meta.
And also now Afreeca Freecs are using that siege that they have so much power in. Even Kiin and Dread able to get autos on this inner turret, and so that is not long for the world. Pings to come out here from Hanwha on the enemy blue buff, but they just lost 2 turrets in this lane, and Afreeca have pulled ahead. In the structure margin, it's 2,000 gold now the lead for the Afreeca composition that's happy to play as late as you'll let him. And
it's a very good look. It's mid-game macro intelligence from Afreeca Freecs. They know Sangyoon's teleport is down. Well, we got more people up on the rift. We can make more things happen. So,
and also protecting themselves. Look at all of the wards. 5 wards in the enemy blue side jungle. They were going to know everything about any rotations heading over there. That was almost a win-win play out of the Afreeca Freecs, and that's what you want to see is Dread. Oh, the flash answered by a safeguard. Amazing play, and that's why you have the young guns with the quick fingers in your jungle.
Feels like that's the result of another season of seasoning for Dread. It's smarter about how he approached his jungle.
What seasoning is it, Papa Smithy? All-purpose?
It's a dry rub.
Oh, okay, it's a dry rub.
My favorite wing sauce, and also my favorite look is teams just adapting, getting smarter, making smarter plays on the rift. Because, again, talent undeniable on Dread, but it only means so much, your solo queue ranking, until you actually pull it out and make it count on the LCK stage.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like mechanics can also can kind of be explained as like a tool that you have in your toolkit, right? You might have a really amazing drill, right? You got this incredible drill, but you need to know how to use it in order to make it work very well. So,
oh, Lava. He missed it.
Yeah, I know.
It was really sad.
I was trying to ignore it by talking about drills, and it just didn't work. I'm still upset. But no, but you know what I mean. The analogy is you still need to have a head on your shoulders in order to pilot having great control of a champion. So Dread, he's getting there.
So I'm now thinking about wings because we talked about dry rub as being my favorite wing. What's your wing sauce? Because I know you're, as Australians, we don't have the American exposure to chicken wings, but you still at this point have tried them enough times to have an educated opinion.
Yeah. And I do like buffalo. I only recently got exposed to the buffalo sauce, man. Like, I am so behind the 8-ball when it comes to eating wings.
Do you reckon we need to make a YouTube series of like Australians react to, and then chicken wings would be one that's I think it
needs to be like Australians in Korea react to, because we've been exposed to the weirdest foods, man. Like, we don't know a lot about some things that we definitely should, and we know a lot about things that we definitely shouldn't at this point.
I feel the same way about my League of Legends knowledge and my food knowledge in scenarios like that.
Well, at the moment, we are vying for a bit of a battle here as Ucal split pushing on the bottom side, but we've got a 4v4 about to erupt here in the mid lane. Everyone wanting to get their hands on this Mountain Drake, which will be the third for the Afreeca Freecs. 21 minutes into this game. Corky's going to vacate the bottom side of the map, though, so Hanwha have to respect the man advantage they will have in this 5-man stack.
And that's right, control is to Afreeca. They have a lot of ways to check with the Lux in particular. Moojin's rushing in, but how half-hearted is this contest?
Well, he is going to come down here. It is taken by the Lee Sin, but it was a 50-50 in the end. Impale comes down, and they manage to pick off the Aatrox. Now with the man advantage, Hanwha Life are looking for it, but they're trying to get out now. Respecting the damage availability. Dread was very low, but aiming at full health was scary. Still wanting to take down Lava here, playing so aggressively. Arcane shifting forward, Senan throwing out the shields. They're not going to find too much more.
Target selection perfect from Hanwha Life. Keen to try to keep up with SoHwan in the 1v1. Can't afford a QSS at the moment, and you just ult him. It's another way to deal with this Aatrox. Kill him early before that first counter kill comes through. Issue for Hanwha Life is that Moojin and Kiin, after the first kill, aren't tanky enough to keep diving on the squishy damage dealers of Afreeca Freecs, so they have to back away. But at the end of the day, good target selection is important to remark on, because they'll want to do that every time until Aatrox cements the QSS.
Yeah, they really respected aiming in his high health bar and the fact that Ucal does a lot of consistent damage there as well. So not wanting to fight forward even though they had that 5v4 was either being a little bit too respectful or intelligently respectful based on the tools that Afreeca still had in their arsenal.
And now you get to the weird spot where if you ask me which two members of Afreeca Freecs need QSS the most, my last two answers would be Corky and Ezreal, because they're so damn mobile, Atlas.
Yeah.
How is Lee Sin ever going to go for an aggressive play? He's just going to get Skarner ulted. The moment he attempts it, Lux, if she tries to face check, yep, she would love to have one as well. Right now it feels like, yes, it's insurance, you can poke like this, but when it comes to contesting vision, not having QSS, or even team fighting, there's a lot of game scenarios where Kiin and Senan not having QSS gives them a lot of headaches.
Well, right now, it's Afreeca that are giving the headaches over to the Hanwha Life squad, because they're able to bully their way forward and get all of this deep vision almost without a response. Feels like Hanwha are playing on the back foot. They're playing as if they don't have the ability to win any of these fights, and I don't know whether that's entirely true. I feel like Hanwha do have a lot of pick potential, a lot of skirmish potential at this stage of the game. Don't quite have second item built up for Ucal. He had to take a timeout to build his QSS, like you were mentioning before. Could be opportunities now as sangyoon does take a whole bunch of his health bar and damage here, as aiming not going for the Luden's Echo variety of the Ezreal, but still doing a lot of damage with that ability.
I think Hanwha Life win most skirmishes and fights, but getting there with Skarner, not that easy without a flash. Here's that ult. They're trying to use their tools, but they're showing a lot of respect.
Yeah, and you can see Afreeca just disengage. They just move on back. Lucid Singularity was definitely good for giving aiming a way out, and we've seen aiming play so far up. And it's because he feels like he can do so with the protection available from Dread and Senan.
And if you don't actually make that play, your ults are on cooldown, and the enemy's pushing in waves, and the side waves are actually causing a lot of headaches here for Hanwha Life. If you don't have your top lane minion wave in order, there's no turrets apart from an inner turret in top, so minion waves move really far. Freaking continue to poke in mid lane, and if you tell me that Ezreal, Lux, and Corky can roll in the same lane with no pressure on the map and no threat of a gank, all your structure's going to die, Atlas.
Yep, and this is exactly what we illustrated at the beginning of the broadcast, right? We were talking about this composition from Afreeca. If they can get into a 4-1 scenario when things are even or they're ahead, they're feeling fantastic moving into the later stages of the game. And that's precisely what we saw. We just saw 4 members in the mid lane able to pressure out the other 4 of Hanwha Live very easily, and Kiin in a side lane. This is the win condition of Afreeca, and they're playing it out very well.
The Aurelia gets Trinity Force, and now can SoHwan get anything going in the 1v1? I thought that was pretty inevitable, but Hanwha Life have just never played topside for the Aurelia this game. You know, we never saw that early gank. It went bot lane of all things. Is Moojin rushing in? Again, still flash up.
Yeah, Predator is going to fly forward as the Lux is going to get caught up, but flashes to get out of the way. I think that Impale was not necessarily calculated very well mechanically, as now Hanwha have been routed. That's a huge package delivered. Final Spark doesn't do huge damage, but it does manage to soften the members of Hanwha who are scattering to the winds. And is this going to be enough to lock down a Baron for Afreeca?
They're definitely going to poke around at Atlas. Big mistake from Hanwha Life. They have the Thresh Skarner combo, the Griffin Special as we call it.
Yeah.
The Key had no idea where Moojin was part of. They had no synergy as a jungle support duo, and that just meant they got nothing out of Skarner ult, and watch Baron explode.
Exactly, Baron is done. You had one sentence there, Papa Smithy. The Baron didn't even last that entire sentence, as it is taken down and the Afreeca Freecs are in so much control.
The call from Hanwha Life is Skarner ult into Lantern to extend the range, kill Lux instantly, but they botched it completely on the replay. Hopefully it will be clear for everyone to see. Then they've just got no threat on a fairly mobile, high damage trio on the side of Afreeca, so they say thank you very much. We don't even need a tank. We got Lux shields for days, and goodbye Baron for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, it's only a Mountain Drake they get in exchange, so let's have a look at this one again.
No QSS, Senan can't walk up. Also means he's going to be flashed on, but watch Kiin. And Moojin takes in the different direction from where the Lantern's going to be. Where's the communication between the duo?
Well,
it's
he shorted that Lantern so much and then instantly dies for it.
He shorted the Lantern, but Moojin was moving towards mid lane.
Yeah, it's about as wrong as it could have gone. As speaking of which, this is Afreeca Freecs in a very good position. 2 siege minions. This inhibitor turret dies with that last shot of said siege minion. The 4-1 is beautiful right now.
I had the replay on my screen. It was actually a Lee Sin kick away from the Lantern.
Aha!
That's why it looked so weird on our monitors. All right, that was just a nice play from Dread.
All right. Well, that's the young man mechanics. Sometimes it even catches out. Papa Smithy, the analyst extraordinaire as SoHwan might be caught out as well. The Weaver's Wall, not exactly the greatest position, as he's so far away from his team, takes the Lantern to keep him alive, but that was the flanking play they were looking for. SoHwan almost going down to his Guardian Angel as the True Shot Barrage sails over their heads, and Afreeca seems like they cannot be surprised at all.
They're a siege comp with Baron.
This is amazing. Kiin, so very close to falling down, does go the correct direction as aiming, happy to dive underneath Nexus turrets. 2 inhibitors dead off the first Baron of the game, and they're still pushing forward for more. Nexus turrets now under fire as Dread dancing around this fight. He does get caught by the seismic shove, but Afreeca Freecs still able to make their way out. Just feels like they're never pushing too far forward.
The force levels, though, for Afreeca, it feels like they have a lot of latitude with the Baron buff to make these pushes. They feel early. It's only 2 items on most of their carries, with the Baron buff coming in surprising fashion has given them long leashes where even though Skarner has ult, unable to make much happen. Here is the big flank play coming through from SoHwan. It's teamfight Aurelia. We assumed it would be the 1v1 where Aurelia would find her advantages. The poke comes down, SoHwan's basically out of the fight, and then it's just QSS Corki, QSS Ezreal walking up.
See what Ucal has to say of this one. Of course, the way that he upgrades from the first week of summer is to start singing now. I think he knows. He just knows that he's going to be on camera.
He's feeling it, and you have to give Ucal
it just
every
feels
opportunity.
Fantastic to see him like this as well, doesn't it? Just this is what we wanted from this Afreeca Freecs squad, with the top side of the map looking on paper so good. As our Moojin's looking for Senan. Not sure whether the QSS has been built up just yet, as we can't see the items. Hadn't checked in on that one. But now the kickback is going to happen. Not sure why Dread did that. Just for funsies, I think. As Kiin had the teleport, but he was in mid lane. And now we're looking to siege this one down. Will this work? As the Weaver's Wall comes forward yet again. But we got so much mobility. Vanguard's Edge flies forward, but it's not doing anything. The Aatrox doesn't even feel pressured to come down and try and threaten a 5v5.
Starting to deceive a Hanwha Life. They give up the bot lane inhibitor. That's going to be all 3 inhibitors down. Hanwha Life just not able to pick a fight.
Yep, they're just watching this game be lost. That's what's happening right now. We've got 3 waves of super creeps now on the board. Nexus turrets under fire. Can Afreeca do it? As they're pushing forward, it looks like the answer is going to be yes, as these super creeps are so dangerous, and Afreeca are unrelenting in this pressure. Lava has to go back to the fountain. Final spark, making the Lux look like a bit of an assassin in this game, even though it's Senan playing in the support role. True Shot Barrage sails by, doesn't land anything, but the hooks are also not landing. Moojin looking desperate as he once again gets kicked, but couldn't even get the impale. That wasn't a popped impale that time around as Featherstorm is used. Kiin tries to flash, doesn't get there as Moojin flashes and doesn't find the impale again. It's like his R button's bugged, Papa Smithy, as now the Nexus will be dealt with, and Afreeca Freecs take down Hanwha Life very, very easily in game number 1.
And it was just so non-interactive. It was just 5 kills in the entire